With 2 returns from injury expected for WWE and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for July 9th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With it reported yesterday that AEW has been talking to Stardom about a working relationship, Dave Meltzer gave an update on Wrestling Observer Radio. There's been talk, I don't know. It's only preliminary talk, which there was none, whatever it was, a couple of weeks ago. I know Tony Storm wants to go there. AEW works a lot with Tokyo Joshi Pro, but AEW wants to work with everyone. They're trying to get away from the traditional politics. Obviously, Forbidden Door showed that you can't completely, because they obviously wanted Penta and Phoenix and Andrade on that show, and they couldn't, It was just one of those things where you couldn't do the show. So, those politics that they want out, that's another example of like old school wrestling. Maybe when a new generation of promoters came in, that's not the Vince McMahon, and not the CMLL guys and people like that from the old school, and you have new people who just want to, don't pretend that they're the old game in town and there's nobody else and all that these walls will break down, because the walls breaking down is a great thing when you have the ability to have all these unique matches and better cards and things like that. Taking to Twitter to thank fans for their support, up-and-coming NXT star Nikita Lyons had this to say in a video update.
I just want to express how honored and grateful I am to my fans. I don't even like to use the word fans, because when you rock with me, Nikita Lyons, we're a Lion Pride. It's a Lion's Den. We're a family. And y'all mean so much to me. And every single letter y'all write, I keep all of them, pictures, all of that. And y'all be manifesting with me. This is how I know it's a family. I wouldn't be here without you guys. At the level and the extent that we're at, I wouldn't be doing it without you. So thank you for this cool merch that y'all send me. It means a lot. Much love. We're in this together. One love. Lioness.
Recalling his WrestleMania 20 match with Ric Flair against Evolution, Mick Foley said on his podcast that he felt out of place. I can't watch the match. Ric Flair, he feels like it was a really good match. He says it is, and I'm like, Rick, I can't watch it. I can't watch. He said something, you were great. I lost all my confidence, and I go from being this guy who had been the 3-time WWE champion, and I just became somebody who, in my mind, doesn't belong out there. With the Wall Street Journal reporting that Vince McMahon has paid $12 million in hush money to 4 women over the last 16 years, Dave Meltzer noted that no more NDAs are expected. I think these are all the NDAs. I don't know, but I think these are all the NDAs, and I think the other stories are just women who didn't get money and just, whatever, didn't want to fight Vince. Always wanted the chance to come back. The people who went after Vince are the ones who didn't want to come back, because if you wanted to come back, you don't do this. So that's the carrot that Vince has in these situations. So these are people who, for whatever reason, went to him knowing that by doing this, that they're never coming back. With all this attention on WWE, a former star for the company, Ryback, has decided to chime in, writing, "Everything I've said has been 100% true. WWE wanted me to sign an NDA in 2016 and I refused. They have since done everything in their power to silence me and hurt my brand and business. The truth always wins. F anyone who ever doubted me, and you will see even more soon." Talking to Good Karma Wrestling about his decision to not re-sign with WWE, former NXT champion Johnny Gargano said, "I had this guaranteed contract with WWE, I could take it for a lot of money, and I could come back and I could keep doing what I'm doing. I just knew that with the baby on the way, I didn't want to have anyone else being in control of my time, because I'm really only getting one shot at this. Me and Candace only plan on having one kid, so I want to be there and try to experience everything I can with Quill for his first year before I do anything else." Despite his retirement from in-ring competition, The Undertaker has always said that there is a chance he could return, as he recently told Bleacher Report. Just the fact you asked that question. Mission accomplished. You never say never. I don't have aspirations of ever stepping into the ring again, but this is WWE, man. You never say never. You just never say never. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer revealed what he learned from conversations with WWE writers about their suspicions of Vince McMahon's improper relationships with talent. I talked to some writers from that era, one in particular, for a long time today, and they would say that sometimes Vince came in, and it was like, you gotta start pushing this woman. And it's not told to them that Vince is sleeping with them or anything. But when you get this directive, that you have to push this woman who clearly wasn't ready in the ring, wasn't ready talking-wise, wasn't over, and you start asking questions. Most of those questions would later lead to the same answers. This has not been anything new. People in the company certainly knew of who she was and that story when it was going on because they saw her rise to the top. In her case, she never applied for a job there. She met Vince at Vince's place of residence, which is the Trump Hotel, his penthouse in Connecticut, where she apparently lives as well, and Vince offered her a job and was going to increase her salary from $100,000 to $300,000, and I guess bells would have went off with that kind of a raise, so it was only $100,000 to $200,000, which still some bells went off. She's also alleged to have been moved out of one department to the assistant of John Laurinaitis, and I guess the allegation is that Laurinaitis had an affair with her and she was paid $3 million to keep quiet. That was all very recently. Most of these other cases are in the mid-2000s, the Diva Search era. I've been told two names. I'm not going to be talking about names because it's not really fair to the women. There's a very familiar ring to the story. I know one writer who told me one name. It is that Diva Search people that a lot of them came and went very quickly. They were brought to the main roster because they looked good in bikinis and then they were gone. It's a really ugly situation when you think about it. As WWE have released many superstars and staffers in the name of budget cuts, PW Insider has reported we are told that the company also recently instituted some budget cuts, so Curtis Axel and Ari Daivari, who had been working as producers on a probationary basis, are no longer being brought in, which made everyone's night even harder from a production standpoint. There had been a big push for more producers to be added right after WrestleMania due to the insane workload and the time the company expects of the producers. That is what led to the probationary additions. Now, with the cutbacks, they have been dropped, at least short term, so the producers are back to being what was described to PW Insider tonight as extremely overworked. While he is out of action and suffering from a torn pec prior to Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes has been promoted for Raw on August 29th in Pittsburgh. Rhodes is also advertised for the Atlantic City show on August 14th. It remains to be seen where he goes from here. Speaking of stars that are currently injured and out of action, Randy Orton has also been advertised to appear for Saturday night's main event in Tallahassee on July 16th. Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Rollins, Riddle, and Becky Lynch are also set to be on the show. Speaking to the New York Post, AEW President Tony Khan was asked about the importance of a new TV deal for AEW as he responded, "I'm incredibly grateful every day that AEW has this great relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery, and we've done well for TBS and TNT with Dynamite and Rampage, where we're a strong performer for Warner Bros. Discovery on a weekly basis. I think there is still a lot of time left for the next rights deal. We have a great thing happening right now, and I do believe our future media rights will be important, frankly, a very large revenue stream for AEW going forward, and I think that's because of the great support we've had from the fans and the hard work of everybody backstage and the wrestlers every Wednesday and Friday pulling it together and delivering great shows. Whenever our next media right deal, the next one, does kick in, it will be historic. It will be recorded in history, because everything in wrestling is recorded in history in a posterity. It'll make history however it goes. Right now, everyone would expect very, very well. We expect it's going to go very well for us based on how strong we've been performing." Sticking with Tony Khan, he also explained why FTR's music has been changed, telling My Mom's Basement, "When FTR, I felt needed an overhaul, a repackaging, and I really wanted to get behind them and signify that it was going to be a new era for them in AEW and that we're really getting behind them. I wanted to change their songs since I was going to try and book them stronger than I had and do a better job than I had done with them, and really I wanted to make them one of our top acts. And one of my favorite entrance themes is the old Midnight Express theme, and it's different, but it's probably more similar to the knockoff of the Midnight Express theme than it is the original theme, but that's by design. So it's very similar to the song I grew up on, you know, in the early 90s, especially with beautiful Bobby Eaton, and then going back and watching VHS tapes of Bobby and Stan Lane. They always had that song, and I went back to Bobby and Dennis Condrey. They had the original song, but I'd imagine that'd be a little bit more expensive, and we wouldn't be able to create our own content there. So I asked for a theme inspired by the Midnight Express song, and I thought it was perfect, and I took it to Dax and Cash, and they, at first, they were not sure, but they said, okay, we'll try this. I mean, it seems like a cool idea. They love the Midnight Express more than anybody, and it's worked out really well, and it's become a calling card for them, and you know FTR's in the house when you hear that theme. So that's a good example of it. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.